I'm lucky enough to live in Oxford, one of the most beautiful cities in the south of England. But just occasionally, I long to head off somewhere new. Where this time? Ah, yes, Jordan. Perfect. In 1095, Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade to the Holy Land, and within 4 years, the Crusaders had established a Christian kingdom based around Jerusalem, but stretching out across Syria and Jordan. There were 9 successive crusades, each of them with huge amounts of bloodshed and loss of life. In 1132, King Baldwin I ordered the building of Carrack Castle, and it remains Jordan's most impressive Crusader castle, and possibly the windiest. In a campaign that lasted hundreds of years, over 50 castles were built or captured to strengthen the Crusaders' hold over the Holy Land. This one dominated the countryside below, imposing the Crusaders' might over the mountainous east of the country. But pride comes before a fall. The great Muslim warrior chief Saladin dealt a disabling blow to the campaigns, reclaiming Palestine with the Battle of Hattin in 1187. This triumph proved a turning point for the Arab forces. So, Hanan, tell me about this, because this doesn't look like a Christian design to me.
No, I think it's more like Mamluk design because of the star shapes that you can see here. You can see another one here.
It's very beautiful. It's sort of very geometric as well.
Yeah.
So, tell me, who were the Mamluks?
This castle was conquered by Salah ad-Din, and the Mamluks came after him.
And they were Arabs as well?
Arabs, yeah.
Crusader or Mamluk, it must have been grim up here for those soldiers, with the icy blasts of the wind in winter and the relentless summer heat. At least they could retreat to these underground passages. I am so glad to get out of that wind.
My goodness, so am I. These are typical Crusader castle corridors, and they were used for transporting goods and food from one place to another. But the real strength of a castle, really, is in its water reservoir.
Why is that? I mean,
so that they can withstand any sieges, basically.
So it's the water rather than the walls that are the key to success.
Absolutely.
Well, how impressive. But this just goes on so far. Atmospheric corridors like these were a key feature of Crusader castles. Leading off them are rooms that may have been banqueting halls, sleeping quarters, or even stables. Still chasing the winds, Hanan and I abandoned the castle to travel south to the Dana Nature Reserve. This is one of Jordan's many areas of natural beauty, protected and conserved by the Royal Society for the Conservation of Nature. Hamzi Nabel Al-Nwafa is one of its guardians and knows the terrain intimately.
Down here we have the Wadi Dana. You can walk from here down to the desert of Wadi Araba. The nature reserve, it is 300 kilometers square. So it is one of the biggest nature reserve in Jordan. Dana, it is different from the rest places of Jordan. It is very specialized for the people who's liking to, like an artist. Someone, he's an artist, come, imagination, all looking down to the valley, to the nature reserve.
What kind of wildlife might you see if you're trekking through Dana?
Usually, you know, we have ibex, which is the mountain goat. You need to wake up early to watch that. Every morning, coming down to the water, watch it from far, far away. There is hyena. We have wolf here. We have like the porcupine, the rounded one with white needles, wild cat. So in general, we have like a lot of animal which live in the wildlife. That's also why we don't allow a hunting in the reserve. We are the soldier to take care of our nature.
Situated within the nature reserve is the village of Dana. Once a thriving farming community, now a melancholy no man's landscape of of barren vistas, tumbling walls, and empty streets. Despite its romantic beauty, this was a hard place to eke out a life. When running water, electricity, and new housing came to neighbouring villages, families gradually migrated, abandoning homes and fields.
These houses look quite old to me. How old are they?
This house is actually, it's like 500 years old.
Right.
It is from the Ottoman.
But it's not the end of the road for Dana. Just in the nick of time, the RSCN has decided to rejuvenate the village in the hope that villagers will return.
So right now we have the new restoration of the village. Less than half of the village right now they begin to restore.
A handful of locals refuse to give up on the place, staying put to run a couple of hotels, offering shelter and food to visitors to the nature reserve. The Dana Tower Hotel is a funky little guest house spread over 4 cottages. It's very popular with backpackers who love its decor, a crazy mishmash of trinkets and boutique styling. The guest house owner, Nabil Al-Hassabe, has known Dana for many decades. Nabil, how long have you lived in this village?
In fact, I born in this village, in this house in the back. Inside, but I don't know which corner. I have to ask about that.
The village must have changed a lot since you were a young boy here.
You know, the life totally changed, not just the village. If we go back only 20 years, there is a life in the village.
How many families do you think were here when you were young?
Yani more than 800 families when I was.
How different is the village now to when you were a little boy? I mean, how have the streets changed and the buildings changed?
The only things changed now, it's most of the houses is damaged. As a village now, it's empty. No families. Only 1 or 2 families, they work in Dana.
Were there shops here when you were little?
Yes, there's shop. Yani imagine the shop, remember there's 2 shops. If you want to buy, for example, sugar, you can take some eggs or you can take some wheat and you go to the shop and you give him and he give you the sugar. It's exchanging, you know.
Along with the hotels and restoration work, new jobs are also bringing people back to Dana village. One of the bright hopes for the future is the silver workshop. Upstairs, a stylish little boutique sells the delightful hand-wrought silver and copper jewellery. I just can't make my mind up which one to take back for my daughter, or possibly for me. That's pretty, maybe I'll go for that. And that,
The copper actually comes...
oh look, there's more over there. Hold on, possibly that one. Can you see those? This is so sweet. Oh, that's wonderful. Gotta make a choice. I don't know what to take. These designs are deftly handcrafted by local women in the workshop downstairs. It didn't take much prompting to elicit an invitation to look around.
The whole idea is to produce items that look very similar to the flowers and the animals that are around it. When they first started, they had specific designs to follow, but gradually, as they gained more confidence, they started making their own designs. Look at this one, the eagle.
The women are justifiably proud of their skills and keen to show how they work. First, the silver is flattened and the shape of the design scored into it and painstakingly cut out. Next, details are embossed into the silver, in this case the veins of a leaf. I hate to think how many times I would have hit my thumb if I were doing this. She makes it look so easy.
Yes.
Then the finishing touch, a thorough polish until the silver gleams with a soft lustre. Absolutely lovely. From the rock, as if by magic grown, eternal, silent, beautiful, alone, wrote John William Bergen in his 1845 poem, Petra. And then, a rose-red city half as old as time. Undoubtedly the most famous description of the legendary city, written by a man who had never seen it. Like Bergen, I've longed to visit Petra for years, but unlike him, I'm now walking down the road to the entrance. Strolling down the long, dusty road to the Seek, we spot any number of carved caves, our first taste of what is to come. Wow, look at this. So what's this one? The obelisk tomb.
Yes.
Obelisk tomb and Bab el-Sik triclinium.
Funerary, dining hall and benches carved along 3 sides.
So that's presumably downstairs.
Down below. Yeah.
And then up above is the actual tomb.
Yes.
Petra was the capital city of the Nabateans, a nomadic tribe who had established an elaborate network of caravan routes which traded spice, incense, silver and gold throughout Arabia.
And this is the Sikh, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this was the entrance to Petra through this really narrow cleft in the rock. Look, we've got two very fine Nabatean soldiers standing guard to make sure no riffraff come in.
This natural gorge was cut through the sandstone over the millennia by earthquakes and floods. The walls still bear the remains of hand-carved water channels. The Nabateans were famed for their advanced irrigation systems, which turned Petra into a desert oasis.
Isn't it incredible with those colours? It is actually the colours of the Bedouins as well, or the things,
Yes.
the decorations inside the
Like
tents,
the
and
tents.
it's the same colours again.
Yeah.
They're sort of the colours of Jordan, aren't they? The colours of the land and the stone. Beautiful.
After the Nabateans came the Romans and other cultures, each leaving their mark in the stone fabric of the city.
It's getting much more rough here. Oh no, it's actually look, it's a sort of a proper pavement, an old pavement.
Yeah.
Why is this bit different?
This is actually a remnant of a Roman road. The Nabateans had sandstone roads. As you can see, this is a solid road.
That's a kind of Roman thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Arrive in a new place, take over, build roads. That's it. Right, onwards.
The walk through the Sikh takes a good 30 minutes, so local Bedouins offer tourists rides on donkeys or in carriages to speed things up. We're tougher than that, but it didn't take much to make us stop for a few minutes.
Oh, you are cute, aren't you? That meow was 5 dinars, please. Where's my fee?
Finally, Hanan and I abandon our feline friends and continue our trek to the end of the Sikh. And there it is, the most famous sight in all of Jordan, the treasury, the grandest tomb in the city.
This is so
Unreal, huh?
extraordinary. And what is amazing is you see so many pictures of this.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen it in Indiana Jones, let's face it.
Yes.
And I thought it might not live up to your expectations, but this is it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It is
Unbelievable. And unbelievable that it's so old. I mean, we're talking 2,000 years.
At least 2,000 years old. And it's all hand carved from this mountain. You can see that it's been influenced by the Greeks. You can see some Greek designs and the lady warriors all over the place.
And what about this sort of ladder of little holes going up the side?
Yeah, apparently they carved this from the top down over at least 50 to 100 year period.
And those are for the scaffolding?
Yes.
Or so they could get up there, is that right?
Yes.
What I don't quite get is, if this is the tomb of, was it King Aretas IV?
Aretas IV, yes.
Why is it always known as the treasury?
That's because the Bedouins thought there was some treasure in the urn that's right at the top, and they kept shooting at it, hoping that it all fall down and they'll collect the treasures. But
So
hence
the name-
the name, the treasury.
I'm just wondering, when we came down, I was thinking, oh, there are so many people here. But perhaps, actually, when Petra was at its height, this would have been full of people going up and down, again and out all the time.
I mean, they were very clever. They strategically located it so that they can catch anybody going up from Africa to China and India, and vice versa back to Saudi with frankincense and spices. So they taxed everybody coming up and down.
No wonder they could afford to build places like this, then.
As centuries passed, Petra slowly declined and fell into ruin, forgotten by the majority and kept a quiet secret by those few who knew it and cared for it. Outsiders were deliberately kept out until in 1812, a Swiss explorer, Jean-Louis Burckhardt, heard rumours of its existence from local Bedouin. Disguised as a Muslim pilgrim, Burckhardt was taken through the Sikh and into the valley. What he saw startled and ensnared him. He smuggled drawings out to the Western world, and the city of Petra once again became a place of wonder for travellers.
Look at that. I mean, my God, you know, this is incredible. There are tombs everywhere. That I mean, they're not as grand as the treasury, but they are still, each one is beautiful and clear and detailed, and there are hundreds of them. They were extraordinary people, the Nabateans.
Yes.
Tomb after tomb after tomb.
With floods of tourists visiting the city every day, many local Bedouin make their living by selling trinkets. Hanan and I met one of the younger entrepreneurs.
Mloa. This is coloured stone, natural coloured stone. That's what she's selling.
Small or monumental, these tomb caves have offered shelter to the living as well as the dead over the years.
Oh, wow. Look at these colours.
It's beautiful. This puts your average graveyard to shame, doesn't it? Oh, I think the body was over there.
Oh, I'm not sure. Would you like to be buried here?
Yes.
I think I'd rather be at the top, though.
The advantage of being lower down if you're buried here is that your relatives might find it easier to come and worship and go, and celebrate your life. Whereas if they're up there, they're going to say, oh, I can't be bothered today.
Petra is situated within the valley of the Wadi Musa, an 80-square-mile canyon, which provided a natural fortification for the city. It also means there is a lot of walking to do.
This is quite an unusual building, isn't it?
It's the first sort of big built building that I've seen it.
This is the palace of the pharaoh's daughter, Qasr bint al-Faraon.
Now, if I'm right, because I've been reading up about this, if I'm right, that's the same pharaoh as the one who had the wonderful urn supposedly full of gold coins.
Oh, right.
And he had this gorgeous daughter, and he offered her hand in marriage to anybody who could provide a permanent water supply to the city.
Yes.
And it's a great story, isn't it? And apparently there are lots of water systems and lots of pipes and stuff down here. Anyway, who knows? But it is an extraordinary building, really, isn't it?
One of Petra's most memorable and impressive sights is the colossal facade of the Ad-Dir monastery. At 148 foot high and 165 foot wide, it is the largest monument in all of Petra. Human beings look like ants next to it.
The really mind-boggling thing about this is that, it's huge, and what we've seen today is huge. And yet, they've excavated less than half of the entire city. So this is just a tiny bit of it. I mean, how amazing is that? 2,500 years ago.
All that walking and wonder has given Hanan and I quite an appetite. So it's back up the Seek to meet a chef. He's going to cook us a much-loved local dish whose main ingredient has a thoroughly cool name.
Sophie, this is Chef Dirar, and this evening he's going to make a dish called frika and chicken.
Hi, Dirar. Nice to meet you. Can I just ask you, you said freaky.
Yes.
What's freaky? It's such a good name.
Frika is green wheat. Basically, as soon as the grain pops up, they chop its head off and they dry it, and it's the most nutritious wheat you can eat.
Fantastic. So, what is the first thing you do for this dish?
So we start in the vegetables, we cut it and put it in this ventilation there with the chicken. You can use any kind of the vegetables.
So these vegetables are really just to add flavour to the chicken when you roast it?
Yeah. Okay. We take the chicken, we put the fresh olive oil.
Do you think there are any savoury dishes in this country that don't have olive oil in them?
Yeah.
No, it's a default.
Salt.
Lovely.
Cardamom.
Cardamom. See, that's the other thing. I'm now learning your
Cumin.
top spices. That's
Yes.
cumin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cumin, cardamom. And I'm amazed that is an awful lot of ground cardamom, isn't it? It smells very nice.
So it's not only in the coffee, but it's also in our food.
Yeah, in the food to get it a good taste.
Chef Dirar sits the chicken on the chopped vegetables and covers it with foil before taking it to the oven to roast. Meanwhile, he moves on to preparing the rest of the dish.
I love watching chefs chop. I do. It's
Yes, I wish I could chop like that. Whoa, whoa,
look
whoa,
at
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa.
And he still has 5 fingers on each hand.
So we start to put the olive oil and then the onion.
Basically, you cook it the same way you would cook rice.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you always fry it first, and then you add,
And then we
you add
add
the broth or the water.
yeah.
Yes,
Does that smell nice?
gorgeous.
Fricke is little known outside the Middle East, so I'm keen to get a good look at it.
This is grains of wheat. They're
Yeah.
slightly greenish. They've still got a greenish tinge.
Yeah, I mean, basically all the nutrition is still there. They haven't taken anything away.
It must be incredibly healthy.
Chef Durar adds the soaked fricke to the onions, followed by a generous measure of spice. Cumin, black pepper, cardamom of course, and salt.
We mix it, and then we put it the stock, the chicken,
So how much liquid do you need to add?
To cover it.
to cover it all the crack.
Chef covers the pan tightly with foil and simmers the fricke until tender.
You see now how to steam.
Yes, turn it down before it pops.
Soon the fricke is ready, the chicken is done, and it's time to put it all together.
Oh, look.
So it's ready now.
Good, 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 good. I'm going to start with a bit of the fricke with a few pine nuts.
Thank you.
How's that?
And the taste of fricke, it's quite gentle. It's slightly chewy, and it's just swelled up sweetly with all that broth that was in all that chicken stock.
And this spice.
So good. And the spices, of course, mustn't forget them.
Yeah.
So can I taste a bit of the chicken?
Please.
Should I just attack it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going for it. Lovely. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Mmm.
How's it?
That's lovely. It is really, really nice. And I love all those flavours coming together. That salty skin of the chicken with the spices, the cumin and the cardamom, and very moist. And it's just lovely with the fricke. Those flavours all travelling through it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you very much for cooking this for me. I really,
welcome.
really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Shukran clear.
You're welcome.
Night has fallen, and the dark here feels immense and impenetrable. But the route down to the old city has been lit by a procession of candles, drawing us through the Sikh towards the treasury. Illuminated by the gentle glow, the evocative sound of Bedouin music creates a strange, hypnotic atmosphere. It's easy to imagine the lost souls of the Nabateans wandering amongst us before returning to peaceful tombs. What an extraordinary place.